us who are not ready, like myself. Typically, I'm way more ready than I am right now, but that's okay. Okay, meeting is now live streaming on YouTube. Gotcha. So real quick, welcome everyone to the super easy kind of trade room or discussion topic. The whole purpose of this side of the group is to, go over some of the basics, is to keep the training and stuff separate so we can kind of really get into the nitty gritty details in terms of new and the basics so we can help some people who aren't necessarily veteran traders or maybe people who have withdrawn. So having said that, my name is Jennifer Baker and I've been trading for a handful of years. I've been, pretty successful at that. I obviously failed right out of the gate like most people, but that's okay. I ended up coming here, and that's when I first really finally turned it around and got past those tens of thousands and got to that higher number. So please forgive my voice tonight. If I mute, it's because I had to cough hysterically because I'm all sicky poo tonight. But I'm here because I'm dedicated to you and because I adore you, and I'm hoping that even just a few of you will ruminate on this stuff, will, maybe listen to it again, we'll go over the spreadsheet, we'll actually do your own math and kind of figure it out. So I'm here because the next few weeks are holidays and it'll be hit and miss with everybody, including myself. So bear with me if I'm not feeling too good. It'll be kind of quick and short and straight to the point. So having said that, tonight's topic is how I got my first six figures with the triple arrow system specifically. So not with anything else, not with everything else, but exactly what I did at that time with where I was at. Now, mind you, I wrote this for myself. I didn't write this for you guys to read it. I wrote this for me and not for anybody else. I didn't ever plan on, sharing it or coaching or anything along those lines. So this is just my own way of kind of logicking past everything that I had learned and everything I knew to make sense of what I was doing and to do something in a systematic way that I could do it consistently and actually be able to compound my account. So let me take a drink. Hold on. So I have a cough drop in too. So sorry if I'm a little bit not perfect speech tonight. Not that I usually am, but I'm literally going to read this to you and then I'm going to tell you all the notes that I had written down. And again, I will say that I wrote this years and years ago. So this isn't necessarily the same thing I would do today. And I would definitely make a couple of changes. But literally all I did was I had to convince myself that, okay, because the stop loss was so large and because the arrows repainted, I had to take what I knew for fact and create it into something that was manageable and duplicatable. So because the nature of the system and the use of the stop loss, which I didn't use a stop loss before that very much. So I can't control the risk to reward nearly as effectively as I did in the other ways of trading that I had success with. So I followed a simpler or different set of rules to be able to maintain my accuracy or my success without maybe not having the same level of risk to reward that I was interested in having. So for my entries, you guys know my fully confirmed, and I will click to that in a minute, just pretty much means I needed an engulfing candle. I needed my triple arrows. I needed MACD or ADX or any of the other oscillators that we used. I needed an EMA crossover. So I needed enough things to tell me that it was going in that direction. And if I didn't have enough, it was no trade, no matter what. So, and next, I needed that to happen on the 1 hour time frame. So even if it was happening on the 30-minute or the 15-minute, I didn't care. If it was happening on the 4 hour, I needed a fresh, fully confirmed setup, okay, on the 1 hour chart. Okay. And another thing, hold on. I'm writing this down so I can not forget to tell you guys this. All time frames. Sorry. Let's see. So other than that, all I really cared about was that whole 1 hour and 4 hour. Now, I'll tell you that as my journey evolved, I was no longer interested in the charts and the setups that had, minute one through month one, all were saying buy, because that basically meant the market was pushing down so hard that nothing was stopping it. So I didn't take that as a good sign. I wanted something that I didn't care what all the other time frames were doing. I just wanted the 1 hour and the 4 hour to line up, just to clarify that, from where I'm at today. The only exception I took to that rule was for like cryptos, exotics, and indices. Most of you who know me know I don't trade those heavily, but those have to be traded differently and taken into consideration. So for those, I was using the 5-minute to the 30, and I had to be fully confirmed on the 15 to take it for an entry. And I did do crypto on the weekend, a reasonable amount of times. So my next rule was don't jump into a trade if I was not in front of my computer. So as our group grew and as a lot of you guys got more proficient, a lot of people were posting trade ideas, plus other groups I was in. I literally had to leave all those groups and walk away. I had to stop taking entries that everyone else said that I should take. And if I wasn't in front of my computer, wasn't at home, I missed that trade. My logic behind that was it was okay to miss a trade, but it was not okay to take a trade and not use the tools that I had that made me a winner versus a loser. And that's our trailing stops and our trade managers and stuff like that. So um, let's see, I would not take another trade if my margin level was less than 500. That's the rule I stuck with, and I did pretty well. I stopped blowing accounts when I started sticking with that, and that works on many different kinds of leverage brokers. I wouldn't take more than 5 trades at a time, 5 pairs. Now, mind you, I don't think that it's wise to stack 4 times. It's a lot to manage, but I will tell you exactly how I did it and why I did it that way, because I didn't know any better, and I didn't have the tools that I have now to do it better. But essentially 5 pairs at one time, and I tried to make them not conflicting, so they couldn't all be NZD CHF, NZD CAD, NZD USD, and then EN. They had to kind of be different pairs. Otherwise, I'd be over leveraged in one currency, right? So they had to be different also. Uh, I did have a stacking bot, but I didn't use it very often. But if I did use the stacking bot, I only used it on 1 pair at a time. And then I would have to use then I'd have a max of 4 pairs that I would have open at a time, because that bot is very aggressive and is not easy to manage. The only exception to that was, and that whole paragraph I have written, but what I did was, as some of these trades and entries closed, if, for example, 2 or 3 of my entries were closed and I only had the 1 runner open, I did not count that as an open trade. I only counted it as an open trade if I still had all 3 to 4 entries open at the same time. That counts as an open trade, just to clarify. Did not trade more than 2 correlated currencies. So I could be in like EN and let me think, EN and EU, like, so 2 euro pairs, but I couldn't be in any more than 2 at one time. And if price retraces to form a double top, that was my permission to take an extra entry, up to 2 more entries, because essentially I would get a better price. So that's high risk, and I know that, but I needed to do something that I could duplicate and then do it again to see if it worked. So that's all I did. And let me take a drink. So when I found the trade and I had it fully confirmed, literally, so if I had my big arrow, what I was told, and again, I didn't know any better at the time, was the big arrow was made to go at least 40 pips. So I used that information to kind of formulate something, and I had back tested a whole bunch of pairs to see how many pips each trade moved when it was fully confirmed. And on average, they moved like 70 to 100 pips, 80, 90. I would definitely say less than 80, 90 now. The market, the volume is very, very low compared to where it was years ago. So just kind of be mindful of that. Now it's closer to like 70 at the most. But aside from that variable piece of information that's current to today, I knew that most of my entries would close in profit if I had anywhere from a 20 to 70 pip take profit. Now, mind you, I didn't know the different spreads, and I didn't know, well, I knew them, I just wasn't capable of calculating them on the spot like that for every different pair, for every entry, every time. So I literally kept it the same for every GBP pair and EN pair and CAD JPY. I kept it the same for all of them, just so we're on the same page. I didn't know any better at the time. So that's all I did. When I took my entries, I went in and I placed, my lot size for my first trade, which was going for 22 pips, which hit almost 100% of the time. Super easy to get, was 2 to 3 times bigger than the rest of these. And these were all the same size. So I had a 17 pip trailing stop. So anywhere from, if it moved up and didn't quite hit that 20, mostly because of spread, it would still knock me out. Okay. And that's literally it. On the next ones, same concept. I would have my take profit set for 44. I like my weird random numbers. It's just kind of who I am. So I had my trailing stop set at 333. And that's exactly how I set it up. But again, that's a lot of trades to manage. That's 22 trades to manage. Now, since then, some of the tips and tricks that I don't really often discuss or talk about, I have written down on my desk. It's, let's see. I'm gonna make sure I tell you guys everything. So I stopped entering trades on Sundays and Mondays. I was losing more when I entered my trade on Monday morning or Sunday night. So I made a rule for myself that I was never allowed to take another trade until Monday night. Monday night US time is basically Tuesday morning market time. So I waited till all that flurry was done, and that was kind of the rule I set for myself. The majority of my entries I took on Tuesday morning all the way to Friday afternoon. Like the majority of my entries, all of them were entered through there. I allowed myself to take entries on Friday because I knew they would play out. And that whole no swap fee kind of thing really helps in terms of AFX if you have them. Um, let's see, I'm here. Let me go one by one. I even wrote it down. I used a currency strength indicator. That increased my accuracy by the most of all the things I changed and did. That currency strength indicator, and you guys know the exact one I used, was the exact thing that brought me up, that finally hovered me above that 70, 80th percentile and got me into the 90s. It was the thing that made the biggest difference. Because if it wasn't ready on the currency strength indicator, it saved me from getting into the bad entries. So that's probably a huge one. I made sure that I was usually in 4 pairs. So if I didn't have another entry running, I would go look for one. Never move my stop loss into profit until after the market opened or closed that day. So for example, if today's Tuesday, let's say we took a trade tonight, and before I go to bed, I would move my stop loss up. In terms of these accounts and this strategy, I wouldn't move my stop into profit until after market close tomorrow. And the reason why is when the market opens and closes, the spread opens up so much, it typically knocks you out anyways, almost always. So, but other than that, I always move my stop loss up into profit. I only check the chart 3 times a day. I was only allowed to log into that broker 3 times at the most. And typically it was twice. It was once in the morning and once in the evening. And the time I took the trade was almost always Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning was when I took most of my entries. And then Wednesday night after all that. So Wednesday night American time is Thursday morning market time. And that is a great time to take trades because now you're past the midweek reversal. Now you've either had your breakout move and your retest, and now you're actually going to go with the flow. You're actually going to go with a trend. Those are great times to take your trades. Let's see, trade manager bots. You guys already know Vernus has one of the better ones if you wanted to get a trade manager, but it will help exponentially. And I literally use the same lot size for every trade I took this week. I used the exact same lot size. So that's why I'm going to show you my other screen. Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to stop this share. I'm going to go to a new share. Let's see. New share. So hope you guys can all see this. I did really good, but then I'm pretty sure this was the same account that I either blew a lot of money with Bitcoin or I blew a lot of money with NZD. I don't recall which one. I'd have to look. But needless to say, I blew a lot of money and I only had like 400-ish dollars in there. So this was kind of the area I was working with. I was going for approximately 1,000 pips a week. And before you guys think that that's impossible, please understand that with 4 trades, 4 pairs stacked 4 times, if on average you're getting 100 pips out of each plus a runner, you're going to get a lot of pips. There were a lot of weeks that I got thousands of pips, like 2,000 or 3,000. There was one week I got 4,000, but that doesn't count because I was trading an indice, which as we know moves differently and moves more. And another week where I got a lot of thousands, but that was Bitcoin. So, but either way, you can anticipate easily. And this isn't your high risk column. This is. So that's all I did, and I only got to about here before I ended up withdrawing. But every week. So instead of using it the smart way, which I know better now, but at the time I didn't have the tenacity and the know-how. Well, I'm sure I did if I could have if I tried, but at the time what I did was I just used the same lot size. So even though we knew that pairs traded less than $10, some pairs traded more, some pairs traded less, most of them did not trade exactly $10. It all kind of came out in the wash. Some weeks I would barely be above break even, but I never had a single losing week doing this. So I took losing trades, a lot of them, but I didn't actually go into negative. So my winning trades that week had knocked me out or knocked me into just above break even, basically, kind of concept. And then the following week or the week before that, I would be thousands of pips above. So it took me all of literally over 3 months. So it took me almost 13 weeks to get to this number with losses and break even weeks. And legit, I don't know how many minutes that was, not that many minutes, but that's all I did. So partly because I don't feel good, but also because I want this to be a super short recording, and I want you guys to be able to maybe mentally process this over the Christmas holiday and realize what you guys could do. So even if you do take losing weeks or losing months, if you made six figures once or twice in a year, you're doing pretty good. You're doing better than most employed people are. So even if you do blow $100 account once every 2 weeks, most weeks of the year, you only need a few weeks and months where you do super well. So that's legit all I've got. That's it. So does anybody have any questions, comments? You guys, I got a ton of questions in this, so please, 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 instead of messaging me on Telegram, ask them now. Pretty please.
Hello, Miss Jenny. Can you hear me?
Hey Tori, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself, Miss Jenny?
Pretty good, except for this cough.
Okay. Sorry about that. What are you taking for it? Are you taking any throat lozenges or anything?
Girl, I went to the pharmacy first thing this morning because I felt like I was dying. So I asked them for the really good stuff, and the guy was super nice. He gave me the Mucinex behind the counter and a
That's
ton
the
of
good
Advil
stuff.
because Dayquil was not cutting it, and I felt like I was gonna die. So like, I've not been
Okay.
this in years, yeah. So
Okay. I hope you feel better. I just had a quick question in regards to the strength indicator. So I've been kind of playing with a few of them, and where I get confused at is what is I guess the timeline on the strength indicator? Is it from session to session it changes? Is it a daily that it changes? I just don't, or can you set that manually once you choose one of the strength indicators? Because as you were talking, you were saying that's one of the things that kind of elevated your win percentage as the ultimate factor of which trade to take. Um, how That's one thing that's confused. Is it possible for you to send the link of the one that you use or
yeah, so I'm gonna show you the exact one that I used. It's not as user friendly. Okay, this one is a mess, right?
okay.
But this is honest to God free, and it is the one that I use the most. We only trusted it on the 1 hour time frame. So I
Okay.
anywhere on this chart.
WAII.
Oh, I'm sorry, we've got background noise. I'm gonna go to mute all. There you go. And if you're not Tori, please keep your mic muted. Okay, so this legit is the very first one I used. It works exponentially well. It is a mess. So it's not as user friendly. But if I drag and drop any pair on this chart, the lines that are thicker and bolded, that's the currency you're looking at. Now, granted, you can manually go into settings and then turn the rest of them off, but that's a lot of work for that many pairs. So I don't recommend that. I recommend training your eyes. But what we notice is when you get the crossover, and especially when you get price above or below the zero,
Mhm.
we even added some little lines in and around that area. That's all you need. Because a lot of times you'll get a triple arrow call, for example, in this range,
Mm.
but it's not ready yet. And it'll kind of bounce around this whole time. And then you end up taking this one. That's where you get a big drop. So if you're just mindful of that, there's one on your phone. It's free. It's called the Currency Heat Wave. That one's very good. The other one that I use currently, primarily because I do classes, is this one. I don't like it better, to tell you the truth, than another one. It just has that nice key on the side, which is really nice, in all fairness.
Okay.
But my favorite, my across the board favorite, is still this one.
And it works best on the 1 hour
I like
solely.
it. Yeah, well,
Okay.
just like anything else, as you get down to the smaller time frames, you're going to get a lot more false entries or too late to be a scalp and too soon to be a swing. And if I
Okay.
use on the 4 hour, I just felt like it was always a bit late. So this was still my favorite. It's called the Absolute Currency Strength. It is free in the marketplace, and it's a bit. I always had it on one screen, so this is its own screen. But if you come take a look at that, you can also see that like CAD is stronger than everything right now. So if I was going to go look for some trades, I would be looking for these trades. Or I see this fresh crossover with the Euro chef, right? So I'd be coming to look. I think that's just a pullback in this case, but well, that's not it. So what is the other one? Euro NZD, I guess. Yeah. Euro NZD. So I get that fresh crossover like that where it kind of came up and retested. And I would know, well, wait a minute, let me go check my chart. So let me go take a look at what's happening. And it gives you a lot of insight, a lot of insight. So we have a fresh cross currently, and this is the 4-hour chart, granted, saying that the euro is stronger. And I'm biased to buy this pair anyway, so there you go.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. All
Hello,
right.
Jenny.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So, what are your exact rules on the currency strength? Is it you just want to see a recent cross, and I guess along with a triple arrow setup, or you just want to see one above the other, meaning the pair, based on which direction you're going, is above or below if you're going short the other pair. So, what are your rules?
Okay, so let's go to an actual pair. Let's go to odd NZD. That'll be a good idea. Bear with me. I'm going to go ahead and remove the RSI from this chart. It doesn't need to be on there. I'm going to minimize my MACD. Okay. Actually, Scott showed me something really cool today, and I'm not going to be able to find it. Huh. I'll figure it out sometime. Okay, so that's not going to work. Here we go. So we can count on, with pretty high levels of accuracy. Oh no, it's not going to show up on this the way we need it to. So let's go to odd USD. What I'm looking for is the sets of reset triple arrows, okay? So how many times did the triple arrows reset? Make sense? One second, let me get a drink. Okay, so what I'm looking for in terms of the currency strength indicator is when I get my triple arrow set up, I need to see the perfect crossover. So in this case, odd is blue, USD is white, right? So on this one particularly, I want to see the crossover and I want to see it above the 60, if it would stay still, and below the 40. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
That's
So basically, one above the other, number one. Number two, above the 60. If you're going long, you want to see it above 60 or below the 40.
yes, exactly. So you want to have some space. So like if we go here, and a buddy of mine, we went back and forth on this topic a lot. I like the crossover. Clearly, that's who I am, though. So that works for me. The crossover works for me. But I would be fibbing if I didn't tell you there's some value and some space between there. So take this for example. We got Jenny's crossover, but it kind of fooled around for a long time before it decided to actually make a move, right?
Right.
So
Do
that
you
means
pay attention to the zero line at all? Also,
it's relevant. I don't know how much though. Well, because
is
like,
it,
so let's go to odd NZD. Let me show you why. It's relevant, but when you understand that the value of currency against each other is a fluid thing, right? So it's never the same. One of the reasons why I don't prefer odd NZD is looky. When they're both up, they're both up. When they're both down, they're both down. Technically, these pairs move simultaneously. They move very, very much the same. And the reason being is because the way their countries are structured, the news affects both. So odd news affects NZD, NZD affects odd, and also because the value in the currency is so close that it literally moves the same. So in a pair like this, the zero line has no significance.
wow, that is very eye-opening. I never paid attention to that in the past. I would just pay attention to a cross. But now I want to pay attention to pairs that are moving in opposite directions. And when I hit the cross with triple arrows, okay, gotcha.
So there you go. That's one of those aha moments when you really realize what we're doing with these pairs. It's kind of amazing. So Thank you. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you. And I learned something new. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, it's kind of a short, direct, to the point kind of moment, but all right, next question.
Hey Jenny, how are you?
Wonderful. And yourself?
I'm great. Um, Good question. When you're stacking, so you're stacking 12 12 pairs at the same time?
Technically, what I did was I stacked 4 to 5 pairs at the same time for up to
Each
4 entries. So that's a lot to manage. That's 25 pairs to 20 to 25 trades to manage.
okay.
Do you see that? So now if I were to tell you guys to do the same strategy, I would not tell you that. I would tell you to take 2 entries.
2
It's
entries in 4 to 5 pairs. So it'll be 10.
Yeah, and the reason why is first off, the volume is lower. Second off, it's much easier to manage. So for example, if you just took confirmed setups that have the 1 hour and the 4 hour and you follow those rules, that means you hold yourself accountable, okay? And you only take trades that line up fresh triple arrows fully confirmed on the 1 hour in the same direction as the big arrow on the 4 hour, right? And that's it. Take your first entry for a 20-ish pip stop take profit and let that be a bigger portion of your entry. So for example, if you were going to enter a 0.1, which is what, $1 a pip on that trade, on your 20 pip take profit, you would scale into that heavier. So for example, your 20 pip take profit would be like a 0.6 or a 0.7, whereas your open running position would only be a 0.3 or 0.4.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Because I've been stacking, but I'll stack with the same lot size for each, just to be on the safe side.
But why?
Right. I get it now.
No, that's okay. But why do you do it that way? Do you have a reason why you do it that way?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was just doing it that way to be more safe. So if I go in at a 0.1, I'll just go on a 0.1 4 times or 5 times.
So
But
that,
it really doesn't make any sense. I could just go at 0.5, right?
yes, that's correct.
Right. So the whole point of stacking is to have different lot sizes um when you stack.
So if you're asking me, the whole point of stacking, if you don't have trailing stop bots, if you don't have bots that scale you in and scale you out of a trade, and what I mean by that is either increase lot size with each entry or decrease some of your position with each move in your direction. So I'm going to say that again for those of you who missed it. So if you don't have a bot that scales you into or out of your trade, and what that means is it increases your lot size with each entry or decreases accordingly, or it scales you up by taking some of your position off as it takes you out and as it moves your stop loss up and as you're in profit, then your best and only reason for stacking a 0.5 is pretty much the same thing as 5.01s, right? So 5 0.01 0.01 times 5, right? The only purpose, the only value to stacking is if you're going to manage them differently. So if one of them you have a trailing stop of only 10 pips, that's going to be your heavier one. You want to protect it with your life. You want to protect it as if that's going to pay your kids as college fund, right? So you're going to be a lot more protective of that. You're not going to win as often, but you're also almost never going to lose. So you have to take that with a grain of salt. And then of course, like your next one, let's say, well, this is my growth. These are how I'm going to grow consistently. So my trailing stop is going to be different. My take profit is going to be different. Otherwise, you're just wasting screen space and, increasing your pip count, but the dollar for dollar is almost the exact same.
Correct. Thank you.
You are welcome. Next question. Okay, guys, I got a ton of messages. So you guys may as well step up and ask your questions. And your question might help somebody else, so don't be shy.
Hello, Miss Jenny.
Hello, how's it going?
Good, thank you. I have a quick question. I'm currently in a trade right now. Odd NZD. I know you just spoke about that a couple of minutes ago, saying that they move the same and so on and so forth. Usually, if you look at if you don't mind looking at the 4 hour on that one, you've got the triple arrows set up already. And then you have that second step. I know it usually goes up and then it will come down, and then that's a second opportunity for you to get back in for a longer buy. But on the overall trend on the 4 hour, it looks like it's going down. But if you look at the daily, it's still a bullish market to some degree.
What makes you say it's a bullish market on the daily?
It's trending upwards. I mean, I see the triple arrows on the for a sell on the top, but it's hitting the. I've got the channel, and it's facing right.
Okay, we're gonna go the daily. Fair enough. Okay, I could see that.
Yeah, so it had the triple arrows on the top side of the, what do you call those? Not channels, I'm trying to find the right word.
AA lines.
On the what?
AA lines are the channels.
Yes, correct. So it was all the way at the top, it dropped down, now it's all the way at the bottom, and it looks like it could possibly be moving back up eventually. Obviously on the daily time frame, it's a lot longer, you know, but on the 4 hour, you've got the triple arrows for the up, and it looks like it's that's the thing that's kind of confusing. When you look at it on the 4 hour, it's showing a downtrend, but then you look at it on the daily, it's showing an uptrend.
So that's why, like, as I kind of busted through those rules as fast as possible, I stopped caring what every other time frame was doing. And actually, since I did that, I've evolved even since then. But I stopped looking at every time frame because it did me no good. All it did was it offered a whole bunch of analysis paralysis. All it did was have me second guessing what I was confident of. So granted, when I take a trade, I'm okay with drawdown. I'm okay with being wrong for a day before I'm right for a month. I'm okay with mentally and emotionally. Hold on. I'm sorry, I had to cough.
No problem.
Okay, so it all depends on how you want to trade. So what I've done since then, and has also paid me very, very well. Actually, I made a boatload of money over summer only using the 4 hour chart. So I didn't look at anything, primarily because I was moving my children across country and I had a ton going on. But here's the deal, my accuracy did go down. It went down a few percent, but it didn't ultimately change dollar for dollar what I made. So if at the end of the day I'm stress free and I can find a few trades, it doesn't really matter. So as long as you're doing your due diligence in terms of A, support and resistance. So like you need to mark up your charts. You don't have to mark it up on every time frame, but you do need to mark it up. That means stop using indicators long enough to get naked and to mark up, where the price is stalling and stopping. My personal favorite way to do that is still the line chart. And I can go over that again, or you guys can watch the recording. But it's really effective and it works. But there are many ways to mark up your support and resistance. So A, if you do your due diligence and know your support and resistance, and you have some type of currency strength indicator, you can trade just off of the 1 hour or the 4 hour. I personally like the 4 hour. Right now the volume is low, so the 1 hour may be a little better, but I don't know, who am I to say? One of the guys in the group, a couple guys in the group are doing super well with a 30-minute time frame. Some people only use the daily. So the people who've made it, like most of them aren't double checking every time frame, because that's just too much drama.
Yeah. Well, I try to look at the bigger time frame, the daily and the 4 hour, and then I'll enter maybe on the 1 hour at the lowest, but those, and I'll hold the trade for, 2-3 days, and it usually plays out. But, like I'm not really a big scalper. I like looking at the overall trend, and, it's actually fun watching the trade come to life the way you've seen it 3 days ago. And I don't, like you said, I don't mind being in drawdown a little bit, but it's just that time of year, like you were saying, volume is low, and you know, the pairs aren't moving as rapidly as they were early on this year.
Yeah, well, this isn't like, so for example, you're right, I see what you're saying. But without even going to the day chart, we can see kind of enough of what's happening.
Correct.
So we don't even have to necessarily click around. And if you did, click one below or one above. But don't like hassle yourself with, oh no, the 15 is still wrong. I want the best entry. Because then all you're going to do is stare at the charts all day long. Your butt's going to get bigger and you're not even going to make that much money.
Gotcha.
But thank you for your question. Does it answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you very much.
I will say the Australian 200 all-time highs, and I think this
There's some background noise. Sorry, I can't hear you. Sounds like somebody's driving.
I'm gonna mute all. All right, if you have background noise, please keep yourself muted, okay? But so Australian 200 just made all-time highs, like lifetime highs. So that's definitely gonna have some play in terms of how the Australian pairs work out. In my opinion, I don't know if this is gonna be the reversal we want. Do I think it's a very safe risk to reward? Yes, absolutely. Because even if it only comes to retest some of this move, you still have a safe trade in terms of risk and reward. You have enough confirmation. And what we saw on that 1 hour time frame was an engulfing candle, and that's what we really want to see. So this is it. That's what we're looking for, to say, okay, we trust it enough. Is it worth taking? Now, if it breaks this average daily high, I'd say it's a good one. So we'll see. And then of course, if it breaks this level, can you wait for the pullback, take another entry? Make sense? All right, awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, bye.
All right, next question.
Hey, Jenny, this is Derek.
Hi, Derek.
Good. Unfortunately, I had grabbed a call that I had to take, and I'm just hopping on. I'm sure this is being recorded, correct?
Yes, sir.
I'm good to go. Then I'll shut up and let others talk.
Oh no, thank you for always coming on, and thank you for always being willing to talk. I appreciate you. All right, next question. Anybody who has any questions in terms of how to compound or rules to grow your account?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, McDonald, how can I help you?
Yeah, I know I just asked a question, but I just really want to get this right. Also, I was looking at your spreadsheet and I realized that you started with 400. Okay, if I'm starting with, say, double that, say 800, should I double my lot sizes? You just follow the same exact plan, but just double the lot size.
So let's go to a new share. Let's be accurate. First off, you should have a very editable version, okay? So I had when I did this, I only had one table. Okay, and I just typed in my account balance, which at the time was like 430 something, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember if it was the time I blew a lot of money from Bitcoin, or if it was the time I blew a lot of money because NZD decided to shoot to the moon for the news. But either way, whatever the case was, I blew a pretty big account, multiple 5 figures, gone in an instant. So I only had $400-ish in there. At that time, I only had one table. I only made it 4. So when we discuss this on a live call, we could converse about it openly. So what you have now is 1, 2, 3, 4 tables. And what you'll notice is your first one is higher starting balance, lower percentage. That's easier. So there's a lot less risk involved. But ultimately, your ending lot size really isn't that variable. There's not an enormous difference. And that's kind of the point I wanted to teach. So now that this is the high end extreme, if you have more money to start with, this is the harder to hit, but low, if you have less money to start with. Again, what I wanted to show you is that the difference really isn't that much if you're going from OPEX. So if we're following this category, the lot size difference isn't that much. The potential is pretty comparable, okay, all the way across the board. And then of course I have your 2 moderate tables, moderately high, moderately low, extreme high. So I just ended up cutting and pasting those 3 tables for conversational purposes. But So let's go to the one that says 400. If this was your account, let's say you wanted to be smart, I would tell you you need to do it in 2 accounts. Well, I don't know what your personal financial situation is. I don't know if your bills are paid. I don't know if you have debt. I don't know what your life looks like. But if it was me, I've given enough money to the accounts that I know I'd rather lose a $200-300 account 15 times than keep losing $1,000 accounts, just of where I'm coming from. So having said that, let's assume your account balance is 437. Okay. You're going to end up somewhere in and around here. Now, granted, there's a lot of psychology that goes into these numbers. This isn't just trading. I wish it was. But then we have that human nature, that human bias that comes and kicks us all eventually. So the best thing I could tell you is let's say you owe a $20,000 debt on your car. Make sure that you withdraw. So leave a few extra grand in there so you start a little higher, but withdraw and pay the car. If you need exactly, $50,000 to help your mother with so-and-so, or to buy a house for a down payment, when you get to 54,000, do the right thing, be a good steward over what God has given you, be a good investor, be wise, and please withdraw. Plus, the more withdrawals you take, the more real this is going to be. Because for some of you guys who have never made $100,000, there's going to be a lot of psychology that happens before you get here.
Yeah, that's I feel like the biggest thing is the psychology. Because my thing is, I'm starting with more money, but I want to go safer. So I'm trying to follow the safer plan, but just with a little bit more money.
Okay. So, well, I don't know. So I don't know what your annual income is, but what I will tell you is for me, to this day, and this is years later, I'm still stuck in this area. And I know how much I've made annually, but there's something that happens in my mind. I can't explain it, and it's not even an accuracy thing, but there's a lot of mental and emotional play that happens. So I will tell you, the more often you withdraw, the more real it will become. Know thyself enough to know that as time goes on, you're going to want to simply continue to level up your life. Of course, everybody wants to feel like they can hit 6 figures, but let's be honest, 10 grand in 2 weeks is pretty darn good. 10 grand in 2 weeks. Let's say you lose 2 weeks, you lost your $200, fine. Next 2 weeks, you flipped it to 10 grand. Very honest to God, easy, doable. Cool, 10 grand. Next 2 weeks, let's say, kind of broke even. Next 2 weeks, kind of broke even. So at the end of that's 2 months, essentially. It's less than 2 months, but you made 10 grand from home part-time. A lot of people don't make 5 grand a month working full-time with their degrees. So be mindful of that. Consistent withdrawal is still your best bet. Always, always, always. Now, this is the ultimate fun part, but a consistent withdrawal account is real nice, okay?
Right. And you said it took you, obviously I know it's no time, no specific time frame, but you personally, it took you 3 months to hit
It took me just over 3 months, so it took me like
the pink.
Yeah, so it took me about 13 weeks. I think we got over to here before I hit, that $300,000 level, and I had found a house that I wanted, so I withdrew.
Okay.
Next time I grew my account to 300,000, I blew it. Actually, the next several account times, I got anywhere above 300 and close to 400. I don't know what it is. I even my account it was over $250,000 on that GBP gap a few months ago over summer, and I was being honest to God cocky. My accuracy on my gap trading strategy was, second to none. So I was fully invested in that. I kept hedging it down, but months into that, I lost it all. So I blew the whole account on a single trade. So, yep. Well, I held it.
Well, right. And one more question. What as far as the trading part is one, but as far as the psychology, waking up every day, going after this goal, do you have any tips, to stay the course and just to stay disciplined and just keep going at it?
So I went to school for psychology. I am still a very flawed human being like everybody else on this call. I will say that at the time that I was really starting to learn to trade, my marriage was falling apart. So like I put everything into business. And right before I got really good at trading, I had just written a huge check out to Amazon for one of the brands I built. And the day I wrote that check to China and I signed all these long-term agreements, Amazon sent emails out to everybody saying they changed all these rules. So like my mindset in terms of this was 100% controlled. So the worst, something I've said before and I'll say again is the worst thing that could happen on this chart it still meant I was in control. And that's a big deal, right? So like, whereas on Amazon and I'd built other businesses and I'd done real estate and my relationship, and keep in mind, that was like my biggest dream was that 50-year wedding anniversary. That was my everything. So I can't express to you on this super recorded live call how big and catastrophic that was for me. So my psychology when I was on these charts was the worst thing that can happen on here is absolutely insignificant because I am still 100% in control of it. Because you are 100% in control of the decisions you make on this. Unlike any other business, unlike your job, your car, you can go get degrees, you can do 1,000 things, but you're still not going to be 100% in control. At least with this, rain, pour, or shine, you make your decision, you trust your analysis, and you are 100% in control. Unlike what I felt like at the time, every other area of my life was not that case. So I don't know if that helps or not, but that's where my mindset was at.
No, thank you. It helps a lot. Thank you so much. And will you be able to share the spreadsheet with us so we can download it?
Oh my gosh, there's like 50,000 versions of this spreadsheet.
Oh, okay.
It'll be available. Don't worry. We'll put it up for you.
No, I seen the other one, but I haven't seen this one yet.
This one's
Yeah.
kind of cool. So it's per trade. This
She's
is
just using the Mac flavor. That's all.
yeah, I like my Mac, except for my mouse. That one's not so good, but it works. I like it a lot. So I like this is the one that I always play with. The other one I created for the six-figure or advanced training group. So you know.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Are any
Hey Jenny, I have a question.
Hi, Mario.
My question is like usually I'm at work during the US session and all those important sessions, and then I'm asleep during the London session right before work. Uh Usually when I trade is the Australian and Japanese, which are kind of crap. Is there like a possibility like you can actually make money off those?
Yes. So actually, what would be beneficial? You live in the U.S., right?
Yes, I am actually Central Time.
Okay.
I live in Texas, so
Welcome, Texas boy. So okay.
Yeah.
You have a really good setup. You'd have to go probably lower risk because you can't manage what happens during London. I mean, can you commit to 15 to 30 minutes in the morning to check your charts?
Can I commit to what?
15 to 30 minutes every morning to check your chart.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. When I wrote down those rules, guy, honest to God, I was checking my chart so often and I was checking my phone so stinking much. It was driving me nuts. So I made a rule that I was not allowed to log into that account more than 3 times. So I got really good at only logging into it twice. Once in the morning, and I lived in Mountain Time at the time. And then that's it. So I was allowed to put my stop loss or find another trade. I was allowed to click through. If it met my rules, I took it. No exceptions, no bugs, no nothing. That's it. If I had room to take another trade, I took another entry. If I didn't have room to take another trade because of margin, or because I was in too many pairs, then I simply managed the ones I was in, and that was it. And I would go the next morning. It doesn't.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Is it also good to scalp around these times?
No.
No.
Well, like I tried to do London, but I suck at being a zombie. Like, of course, I can be a go-getter for, a few weeks, but then I still have, children and a life that I need to maintain. So going without sleep and then never being able to have time to make up that sleep, I'm not going to claim to be experienced at trading London because I'm not. Having said that, London has the highest volume. London, New York crossover is best, second best. and Asian has none. So get a little bit out of it, but nothing requires volume. If there's no volume, there's no volume.
Gotcha. So you would recommend more like swing trading, pretty much?
Yeah, like if you have a few minutes, what time? So, what time would you commit to working in the morning?
I can say like 5 a.m.
5 a.m. your time would be 4 a.m. Mountain. That's 6 a.m. here. That's a really good time. You can
That's usually I wake up kind of like around there, like 5:30.
in that time frame, you can find a few decent scalps. So have one swing trade account and then have one scalping account. And at first, you're not going to know what you're doing. You're going to lose more than you win. That's real life. But if you have the ability with it, you're going to improve if you're going to be honest with yourself.
Gotcha. All right, thank you.
You're welcome, Mario. All right, next.
Hello.
Hey, Stan, how are you?
Well, not too bad. What leverage is this set up on?
500 to 1.
In the U.S., with 50 to 1, would we just be half of that then?
1/10.
Oh, I don't, you can't do this at 50 to 1. Sorry if my voice is coming in and out. You can't do this on like a Wanda. You can't do this on that. I'm sorry. But that's not enough leverage. It's just not.
Yeah, so
You need a broker that's going to give you some leverage. Like, I understand the need for a safe broker, but no money isn't worth protecting. So, like, I get it trying to protect big money, but right now, if you're still trying to grow into big money, I would definitely be willing to risk it in Hugo's Way or in anything that gives you some leverage.
but by rules, we really can't go out of the country. Is that right?
Yeah, you're going to have to. All of us are faced with that in the U.S. I tossed with that also, dealing with Oanda. Then I went to FX Choice, and you're just going to burn your account because you're not going to have the leverage. That's what she's getting to.
So listen, I don't know what your starting balance is, but if it's anything less than 10 and 20,000, you're not gonna you would make more driving for Uber. I mean, in a month than you would make trading all year long if you're gonna use 50 to 1 leverage and you only have a couple $100. And that's with being right a lot. You would make more driving for Lyft or Uber in a single month than you would trading all year long with 50 to 1 leverage and you only have a couple $100. The exception to that is if you have money to spare and your accuracy is good and you're willing to risk 10, 20, 30,000 of your actual money, then by all means use a Wanda. But if not, you're just kind of spinning your wheels because there's not enough leverage to grow. Yes, it's better than a bank account growth, but that's a total different kind of trading. We're not talking about savings account trading here. We're talking about retiring people from their jobs, growing to 6 figures, averaging 5, 10, 20 grand a month. You can't do that with a few $100 on a Wanda.
Yeah, I've got 40K I'm working with right now.
Well, what's your accuracy like?
Pardon?
I'm sorry, what is your accuracy like? How's your accuracy in trading? Are you above 80%?
Oh, my accuracy.
Yes.
I'm probably in the 60 to 70.
Okay, and is your risk to reward phenomenal?
Pardon?
Is your risk to reward really good?
I would, yeah, I'm good with that. I'm more than 2 to 1.
Okay, well, you can still be profitable with 60% if you're using a greater than 2 to 1 risk to reward. So if that's the case and you're happy with a Wanda, stay there. But if you want to play with smaller amounts of money for bigger amounts of growth, if you've got 40 grand that you're playing with, a couple $100 in a smaller account isn't gonna hurt you. That's just my opinion though, so.
I was just wondering where a US citizen could go find these kind of leverages. I can remember when we were 400 to 1 and happy.
I do Hugo's Way, AAFX, and CoinEx mostly. And I'm a US citizen.
Which companies did you say?
Hugo's Way, AAFX, and CoinEx.
And they're stable companies?
Hugo's Way is my favorite by far, but their leverage is a little bit lower than AAFX. So that's the only reason why I use a different broker. So Hugo's Way is my all-time favorite still. They fix problems, they're loyal, they're consistent, and they're good to work with. So I like them.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome. And if you send me a message on Telegram, I'll send you the links because I have referral links for those brokers. But I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, you know, I see these spreadsheets and I say there's no way that 51 can compare with that.
No, you'd have to do like 10% at most. Here's the difference. That's the difference. You're not going to get more than 10% on 50 to 1. It's not going to happen. So, well, I mean, there's variables, but in terms of using this chart, 10% a week is probably what you're going to do. So,
Okay.
all right. I hope that helps. Yes, if you want to know the links, by all means, message me and I'll message back. But
Okay.
thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Hey, Jenny, good evening. This is David.
Hey, David, how are you?
I'm doing good, Jenny. Nice to be with you guys again this evening. I was away for a while. But anyway, I just have a kind of curiosity question. I watch videos, and most of the people who claim to be experienced traders, they say that it's impossible to make a lot of money fast, and they give you rules for your money management and your expectations, and some of them seem to think that if you're making 50% for the year, you're doing very well. I mean, since I've been involved with this group, my hope has risen. My expectations have gone up. I see the real possibility of using a very small amount and being able to do something meaningful. So I'm wondering why these other people make it seem so impossible. I know it's a kind of funny question, but I just wonder if you have any ideas.
Well, bear in mind that most hedge fund managers, I'm talking the ones who have buildings and they're working with $70 billion of other people's money. They go for 1 to 3% growth. So, for example, I don't know much and I'm not an expert, but I did look into becoming a stockbroker trader person. I don't even know the right name, but it's illegal for them to go for more than 1%. Did you know that? Like, so it's rules for them to go to more than 1%. Now, in short, I don't know the logical answer or why they say that, but to tell you the truth, so at the end of the year, and I was going to teach it the way like my mother taught me certain things, is cash in hand at the end of the year. So let's say you ended up putting in a total of $100 a week, $100 every other week, which is $2,400 a year approximately, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have taxes, fees, this and that, withdrawal, deposit, and let's say you withdrew a total of $100,000 in total after all the taxes, fees, and whatever. Your risk to your ratio in terms of growth is enormous. So I don't know. I'm guessing those are very conservative people, and you can be conservative in a lot of areas of life, and I think you should be conservative. I'm a
Mhm.
very conservative person myself. But in terms of this, most of us can afford to blow a $100 account. And if you can't, don't do it. If you can't afford to blow a $200 account, don't be so risky, go less. But if you can, have some fun with it and see what's possible. Because it is
Yeah.
insanely possible. You can see people post screenshots who made 6 figures today. Okay, who made a boatload of money in a single day. Like this month, they withdrew $30,000. In the last 6 weeks, they hit a $500,000. Whatever. There are those are real moments.
Mhm.
You're never gonna get there if you don't try. So
Yeah. Well, I don't say it often, but I really appreciate. I mean, one thing listening to you has done and watching the way you laid things out. I mean, I've come to really believe. I see them numbers and I see the possibilities. So I just wanted to know, I along with everybody else. I mean, people have been saying it over and over, but this is my moment to say I appreciate it very much. You know, thanks for the help you have given us.
thank you, David. I appreciate you so much. Those nice moments are amazing.
Hello, Jenny.
Hi, Bobby. Or Don? Hi.
Hi. I'm pretty new to this, and I was just wondering, uh, so what did you say the ideal leverage is?
If I were to do this safely, I would want to do it with the highest amount of leverage possible.
Okay, well, what do you think about like IG? Is that an okay broker?
I don't use them, so I don't know. I don't use them, so I can just say I like Hugo's Way and AFX the best. Bobby, hi.
No.
There you go, Bobby. Listen, Linda. Listen. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
I just like Hugo's Way because they're a good broker to work with. They go straight to my bank. They handle problems. They're kind. If I send them an email about anything, they get back to me this week. And I've never had an issue withdrawing, which is the most important thing, right? So everything
Right.
aside, when I want my money, I want my money, and I don't want any drama. So
But
that's
with the lower leverage, you can make a lot of money, but you still will, if your low leverage is too low, then it won't benefit you. Is that what you're saying?
no, I'm saying, well, the reason why I would say this works best on a high spread broker is because high spread brokers have no swap fees,
Okay, gotcha.
no
Okay.
stress in terms of, well, so a lot of people are freaking out. You can tell what kind of trader somebody is, just based off of their responses to certain situations. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, for example, I don't mind holding this trade for 2 weeks. I got caught in some awful trade that happened, but I'm not paying for that. Like, yes, it's
Okay.
a margin in terms of I can't take another entry, but at the end of the day, the week, the month, I don't care about that. I'm just looking at my overall probabilities, my overall, net pip count is all I care about. So how long it took me to get there, getting in and out, when I don't have to, is nice. It's nice not to have to worry about that with no swaps,
Okay, I see.
no fees. So
Okay, thank you.
you are welcome.
Hey, Jenny,
Hey, Donna.
that's Ken.
Okay, guys. Well, I promise to come on here, even with my voice, which I'm gonna hate this recording, but I'm gonna hate this recording. But aside from that, that should answer all of your questions in terms of how to do this.
Hey, Jenny, this is Brandon.
Brandon.
Hey, I had just a quick question real quick about the pairs colors showing like it with the and the ACS and the indicator. They're kind of jumbled up. Is there a quick fix where I can fix that in the I guess in the settings, or because I try to drag them so they would separate, like it'll have what currency pair and what color their line is, and they're just all jumbled together where I can't really see them.
All right, let me show you.
Okay.
You mean on this one, right? Right?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, and see all the where it's like where JPY is yellow, like all of them they're not spread out like that. They're all on top of each other.
Okay, so scoot this over. Okay. And make one whole screen just for this indicator. So open a whole tab just for this one. So you can,
Oh, okay.
otherwise you're gonna be looking at this and that's just hard to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's gonna do it, I promise.
Okay, so that'll make all of them go into place.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I thought there'd be a quick fix, but yeah, and you were talking to the guy earlier about the hedge fund guys. Yeah, I have my Series 7, my stockbroker's license, and my dad's in it, and it's the way that they teach is so against anything that's more than a couple percent. So yeah, this is new to me, but I'm glad I found it. But yeah, they have to, advisors and managers, they just put stuff in funds. They don't even really analyze the markets like I see you doing. So that's something good to know.
Hey, Brand, you want to come on and be a guest for me and tell us everything you know about the hedge fund managers? I think people would learn a lot from you because you're right. Like, you'd be surprised what people do, and they're playing with $7 billion all the time. Like, and they're go for a few percent. Like, they're taught way different than what we are. And when we can take you know and what I know and put it together and we see what's possible, that's amazing. That's appealing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'd way rather have you managing my money than any of these people. And I had to take like a 6-hour exam, and you get all in FINRA. I'm registered with the SEC and everything. And you just get fed this Kool-Aid that keeps everything going, I guess. So, yeah, the way the system is now, the stuff you're teaching now to teach people how to analyze markets is really like changing a lot of perspectives. I think it's cool to watch.
That's amazing. So I have to ask real quick, otherwise I was gonna hop. Oh, actually, I got another message anyways. But can't you lose your license if you trade more than a certain percent?
What was that?
Can't you lose your
Well, it depends how you do it. I mean, they have funds and things that do, and depends how much money you're managing too. My dad's got about 10 to 20 million in management. He has a Series 6, which allows him to do fixed investments. I have a Series 7 that does, that's stockbrokers or equities and ETFs and bonds and everything else. But yeah, I mean, if they look at it like you're churning someone's account, there's definitely things that if someone was to make trades like this, that it could have the SEC look into it, and it could have drawbacks. But yeah, usually it's a low percentage, and if it is high percentage, there are other years that have been negatives, which average it out. So yeah, it's not normal to like someone to say they could grow your account 10%, like they would flip out. So yeah, it's not normal at all.
I should go talk to those people. I would have so much fun talking to those people. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I'm trying to tell my dad too, because I'm showing him, and he's just like, oh yeah, I don't even mess with that stuff. It's so volatile. They're just taught. Oh, they're not taught how you can actually, protect yourself and have a risk edge like in a smart way and be able to protect yourself. They're just taught, don't even think about it because it's impossible. So yeah, it's cool to see that.
Yeah, they consider this gambling.
Yeah, they consider it that way, and they just don't even want the education on it. And yeah, it's just how the system is, but it keeps the government rich, and it keeps the systems how they are. So that's how they teach it.
Stocks, and that's not gambling.
Right.
True.
Whatever.
But the thing is the knowledge is just that on the markets is amazing. A lot of people that are advising people's money, they just put like, oh, this is a good fund. This is a high rated fund. This is a high rated fund. They don't even know anything about analyzing it. So yeah.
But
Well,
not
they just look at the Morningstar rating and go from there.
That's
something
right.
Like that. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
That's right. Yeah. That's
Bless
right.
their hearts.
Yeah, or whatever firm is pushing whatever fund, they just give it to them in their little marketing materials. But yep.
that's insane. Like to me, guys, and it's a little off topic, but legit. So people who made it big, I think that Derek talks about all the time. Most of us who made it big, I know a couple people who literally blindly invested, a couple grand into blind, 5 to 10 things. 9 out of 10 of them lost. One of them, they became a millionaire. That simple. That's
Yep.
that's how it's played. No knowledge, no charting, no information, like nothing, no actual valid anything. So yeah, that's stupid.
Hey, Jenny, quick question, please. Yes, ma'am. Going back to the leverage, I know you said 500 to 1. How about if you use a 1 to 500 or 1 to 1,000 leverage? How does that work?
I lose 2,000 to 1 leverage, and I use my no swap fee broker for that for swing trading, only because I don't want to stress about holding the trade. Like that's why.
Is it fine to use a 1 to 500 or 1 to 1,000 doing what we're doing?
You can just be mindful that it's not going to calculate dollar for dollar. So if you're going to be that, analytical kind of super programmable mind person, work out for you. You gotta let the reins loose a little bit and recognize that at the cost of doing business, you have to mentally and emotionally. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because my broker don't offer it, but they offer 1 to 500, 1 to 1,000. So I just went with one of those.
I would do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you so much, Jenny.
Hey, Jenny.
Hey, Liz, how are you?
Hey, Liz. Yeah, this is Liz. I didn't get a chance to get on the other times because I was at work, but I try to get in tonight just to learn. But I heard everybody talking about the brokers, and I checked with my broker, and my broker is 1 to 200. That's probably, what do you think about that as far as?
That's FX choice, right?
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to, because I did choose, I heard the other gentleman talking about it, and I did
Me.
choose Hugo's way, and I may want to just work with you to finish setting up my account, because it's half set up right now, just to
So I was gonna be a rep for an affiliate for FX choice, just so you know. And I even have an affiliate link for them, but they don't withdraw well. Or they did not for me. So I was not okay with that. That's where
what did you say? I didn't hear you.
they don't withdraw well.
Yes.
They held my money for I think it was 40 some odd days, and they gave me a dumber reason every day, like dumber and dumber and dumber and dumber. So no reason, all my stuff was in, and when it comes to business, I'm on top of it. So like I'm over that whole concept. When it comes to this level, the only thing that matters about everything else, first is will you get your money when you withdraw it within a reasonable amount of time, so not 3 months. And second, obviously, that's really what you're looking for. Everything else is second to that. So,
I can't, you're fading out a little bit.
I'm sorry, I have minimal voice a bit, so and then I mute it to talk. So, everything else in terms of a broker is not nearly as significant. So the most important thing is when you withdraw, do you get your money? That's it.
Right. So what I would like to do is see how I could take most of my money and put it into Hugo's way from FX Choice, and I wanted to at least work with you on that, because I've already chose Hugo's way, but I just haven't finished setting it up yet.
That's great. I can do that. I can help you. Okay.
Hey, Jenny. Donna.
Thank you, Donna. If you have a question, or you coming in?
Hey. Yeah, no, I was going to tell you too. I just posted in the regular group all your referral stuff, so it's all there. So if anybody's looking for the link there, I just posted it.
Thank you so much. You're my favorite person, Donna. I appreciate
you. You are very welcome.
Okay, real
now
quick.
Now go get the rest.
No, okay. I'm gonna say 2 things, just 2. ER messaged me privately and asked about CAD JPY. I still see that as a valid no, just so you know. But I wanted to say in terms of commodities and Brandon and everybody, I'm on record saying buy this a lot of times, and this is worth a fortune. So some people just became a billionaire in Coco. You guys know that? Like literally. Doesn't take a genius to figure that out. Like,
Hey, say that one more time. You said something about billionaire.
yeah, I know, right? Became a billionaire watching and trading Coco this year. So this drop was a mess. You know that, okay? But we also know, because of economic news, this is going to continue to buy. We know that economically speaking, this is going to buy. It has been going up since 2018, and it's only going to keep climbing. So that's a commodity for you, and that's still better than brokers and their darn drama stock market stuff. Those are silly people. So, anyways, I'm totally getting off though. Yes, it was Dorian. It was recorded. Okay, I got your message. You can answer.
Thank you, Jenny.
Good night, Jenny. Good night.
Sweet dreams,
Thank you.
Jenny.
Good night.
And you haven't had any problems with CoinEx, have you, Jenny?
Oh, real quick, I like CoinEx, but their customer service sucks.
Ooh, they're crappy.
Honestly, like
That's funny because I felt like I experienced like the opposite from Hugo's Way and CoinEx. CoinEx they answered me like really quick. Maybe I just used the chat or something, but they always helped me like within a couple minutes.
honestly, Brandon,
But
that circle on the website, you know, that circle. Loading, mine has pretty much been loading all year. Like, and I've messaged them, and I was nice the first 50 times, but now I'm like, so listen, here's what's happening, and it's not done happening, and they've given me the whole my website is updating speed for an entire year. Like I took all my money out of there. Their spreads aren't that much better than Hugo's Way. I still get like, I don't know, $20 a month or something, in terms of like affiliates, but I haven't put any money in there at all because their customer service, like, they just don't fix problems.
yeah, I used your link. You're going in and out a little bit, but yeah, I used your link for CoinEx. I think I had to email them and they had to open some ticket so that you got it, but I send them your email. But you haven't had any problems with withdrawals with them, have you?
No, that's why I still recommend them. You know, the stuff that matters, they're still a good broker. Stuff that matters.
I can't hear you, but
I'm sorry.
I think you're going in. Oh, you're right.
Okay. Yeah, the stuff that matters, they're a good broker. Never had an issue with drawing. That's what matters. So,
Okay. Yeah, right. That's all that matters. So, yeah, because I just wanted to know before I grew it and that, but yeah, because it's been growing. But yeah, I appreciate it, and I appreciate all your help.
you're welcome, Brandon. I hope you guys have an amazing.
Have a good night.
I'm jumping off. I'm gonna sleep like a baby. Okay. And I will talk to you guys soon.
I wish you keep going in and out. I think
that's why she needs to get off.
Yeah. Good night, Jenny.
Good night, Jenny.
Thank you so much for your help.